When it comes to the smaller pretenders, people tend to remember Octopunch, but he had a companion piece. Transformers, Pretenders, Longtooth, today on World of Stuff. That's one of the few Autobots I had in my collection. Longtooth is indeed a walrus man with a, well, I guess you could call it a skeleton these days, but it is far more kinetic than most. Yes, there is a nautical theme. He is, after all, a walrus. And yes, he does have his backpack. Worse for wear, but that's fine. And thanks to eBay, finally got the gun. The proper one. Because otherwise, he was having, for years, one of Power Master Prime's guns. So for years, he looked like this in my collection. Not a bad look. And honestly, neither is this. And yes, as I said before, Longtooth is the sort of Autobot counterpart to the Decepticon Octopunch, both of which were underwater nautical themed warriors. And I actually have quite the interesting history with this figure, almost in how I attained it. Because long ago, when we actually had a KB Toys, I was allowed to get something, and they had both Longtooth here and Octopunch. My mother was allowing me to get one of those two, not both, one. After running short of her patience, I finally settled on Longtooth. A decision which, well, a lot of people remember Octopunch because it's a weird octopus man with an old school diving helmet. I don't see that many people clamoring for a Longtooth. Well, outside to play with this too, but that was a project that never took off, sadly. So I never got my modern Walrus Man. Kind of weird how in the 80s Walrus Men seemed to be a thing in the cartoons. Because I remember there being one in Thundercats. Then we had Longtooth here. And no real talk of walruses outside of nature documentaries and Jamie Hyman from Mythbusters. So I'm very glad to have this figure, as goofy as it is. And as you probably saw already, there is a bit of articulation. The arms can go forward and backward. And no belt piece to lose. I already lost the gun, so that I don't have another piece to replace. Although, apparently either a dog or a cat got a hold of this, because there are some scratches on it, or look like bite marks. It still holds together relatively well, but it might be something I might be looking at replacing in a few years. We'll see. Anyway, we will get into the inner robot. We will remove the backpack here. Split it open. And never did quite stay in there. But here we have the robot mode for Longtooth, along with, amazingly, the gun that I managed to actually keep in here. Probably because it actually had a spot for it. Anyway, we'll fold down the legs. If I can get this far, give him his gun. Pull all this back up and set him over here. And there we go. Longtooth without his disguise on. What's interesting is that for being an underwater vehicle, it's very automobile-like. It's kind of like one of those aquatic cars. And this suit is basically designed, the Pretender suit is apparently designed to go under deep sea stuff, so like the Marianas Trench and What good a underwater car would be under such depths is anybody's guess. But we'll get into that in a little bit here. Yes, we do have a very basic dark teal and gray robot with a touch of light. I think it's supposed to be white, but due to the way that the plastic looks, it kind of turns it into a bit of a very light blue. It's the same sort of blue on the windshield here, and can't seem to see anything for the eyes. Probably because technology didn't exist to get paint that small, or they just didn't invest in it. Either way. As for articulation, well, you got the monoleg thing going, but you can separate them out. Doesn't do you any good, but you can do it. So you can have them kind of strolling along, and the arms do rotate. Nothing for the head. Very simple, but again, smaller Pretender, so they had to dial things back quite a bit in some areas. Still a nice figure though. As for transformation, we will fold this part down, remove the gun, fold the legs back in, attach this back part. Yes, I know, parts forming. Oh god, get over it. There we go, there. Then we attach the gun to here, and there we go. Longtooth, vehicle mode. And yeah, as I said, it's kind of a goofy looking aquatic car thing. Seeing this thing going down the bottom of the ocean is very peculiar. One would think he'd be a submarine, but no, he's a car. An underwater car, at that. That does roll. So, yay. And you can turret the gun around like so, if that excites you. Now, as for whether or not you should actually pick this figure up, really depends on your personal preferences. I always say that a lot, but this one's very much, you have to be into both Pretenders, Walruses, and what Longtooth's inner robot turns into. Not hard to find, nor is he that expensive compared to some of the normal Pretenders, but chances are you're probably either going to be getting one in the package and never opening it, or trying to piece one together yourself. If you do see one complete, it's not going to be real expensive, because as I mentioned, nobody's actually clamoring for this figure because not that many people remember it. But it is something that you're not going to forget seeing, and that has to count for something, like it or not. Anyway, I am the Deceptiwolf. This has been Pretender's Longtooth, and I gotta remind you all, free your mind, free your toys.